I've built multiple online businesses that generated millions of dollars in the last few years. And one of these businesses is dropshipping. And with this business, I made almost every mistake you can think of along the way. And to be honest, some of these mistakes cost me a few $100s, while others almost killed my business before it even started. So what I'm doing today is I'm ranking 14 dropshipping mistakes so you know the worst ones to avoid and which ones you can relax about, because with these ones, you're still going to be fine if you make them. So by the time you finish this video, you will know exactly which mistakes can actually keep you broke and which ones don't matter nearly as much as you think. So here's the tier list breakdown. We have 5 tiers. So we have the broke tier. So these mistakes will actually kill your business. Then we have the expensive lesson tier. These mistakes could cost you about $1,000 or waste weeks of time. Then we have the setback tier. So this will slow you down, but it's okay because you can still recover. Then the rookie tier. So this is annoying, but not critical. And finally, we have the minor hiccup tier. So this one, it barely matters. So let's start with mistake number 1. Cheap logos and inconsistent branding. So this is when your logo looks like it was made in Microsoft Paint in 2003. You know, your colors don't match, the fonts are all over the place, and your brand name is something like Best Products 2024 or something like that. And when any aspect of your business doesn't look or feel professional, people are gonna notice. And this mistake is pretty easy to fix. Just go to Canva or hire someone from Fiverr, and you can pay about $20 to get someone to make your logo. My recommendation is to pick 2 to 3 colors and stick with them, and this will make your brand look professional. So don't waste 3 weeks perfecting your logo when you haven't even tested if anyone wants to buy your product. So will this mistake lower your trust slightly? Well, yes, and that could cost you potentially 3 to 8% of potential sales. And is this annoying? Yes, it is, but it's not going to keep you broke, okay? Because luckily, this won't stop you from making money if everything else is solid. So that's why I'm putting this on the rookie tier, because you can fix this in an afternoon and it's not going to stop you from making your first sales. Now let's look at mistake number 2, running ads with poor creatives. And by poor creatives, I mean boring product shots, no clear benefits shown, it doesn't grab the person's attention in the first 3 seconds, or it just looks like every other dropshipping ad out there. Your creative is one of the biggest factors in your ad's success, and I would say it's even more important than your targeting and your audience. So if you have a good product and a good website, but your ad is terrible, then you're going to burn through money really fast. And this mistake could cost you from anywhere between $500 to $2,000 plus in wasted ad spend. And the same product can completely flop or be a winner depending on the creative. And I've seen it many times. Someone tests a product with a weak creative, they get nothing, and they move on thinking the product is the actual problem. But then another person will come, test the exact same product with a great creative, and then make thousands in their first week. So invest in your creatives, use services like viral e-com ads, show the product solving a problem, and then you also want to show how the end users actually enjoy the product. Make it engaging. Test multiple ad sets per product, and what we recommend is to test 3 ads per ad set as an absolute minimum. And I'm placing this under the expensive lesson tier because a bad creative can make a winning product look like a loser. Mistake number 3, refusing to move on. So I've seen this happen many times. So you spend months building the perfect store, you tell your friends about it, your family know about it, and you can already see yourself making those $10,000 months. So you launch, you run ads, then the numbers come back, and you have no sales. So the return on ad spend is terrible. Your click-through rates continue to show no promise at all. But instead of moving on, you keep trying to tweak things. You think, oh, maybe it's the ad copy. Maybe it's the price. Let me try just one more audience. Let me change the color of the buy button. And months go by and you're still unwilling to move on. And this is where so many people get stuck. I've watched students lose months, sometimes 6 months, because they couldn't let go of a product that the market was already telling them, we don't want this. See, the market doesn't care about your feelings. If the data says it's not working after proper testing, then just move on. That's it. No emotions, just numbers. And to avoid making this mistake, I want you to treat every product like an experiment. That's the secret. So you want to test, measure, decide based on data, and then move on to the next one. Because the faster you can kill losers, the faster you're going to find winners. My head coach Stallone, so his first 6 products failed. He made 0 sales, but he didn't get attached. he moved on. And you know what? After product number 7, he done $500,000 in sales. So I'm gonna place this under the broke tier because this one can literally prevent you from ever finding a winner. Mistake number 4, not batch testing ad variations. You make this mistake when you just run one ad per product, and then if it doesn't work, you think the product failed. But what if the product is fine? Maybe just that one ad you ran wasn't great. Maybe the hook didn't work. Maybe the angle was off. And you'll never know this because you only tested one version. So you might kill a winning product because you didn't test it properly. So that's why we recommend to run 3 ads per ad set. Test different angles, different hooks, different first 3 seconds. That's an important one. And give the product a fair shot. This one deserves to be in the minor hiccup tier because while this matters for proper testing, it is pretty easy to learn. Mistake number 5, sloppy, unprofessional website. And you'll know you're making this mistake when you're getting clicks, but you're getting little to no conversions on your website. Your ads are great, people are clicking, they're interested, and then they land on your store, and it looks like a scam because all these seemingly little things are causing issues. Mismatched colors, bad product descriptions, no reviews whatsoever, generic supplier photos, huge formatting issues, and the mobile version is completely broken, and it's no wonder why they bounce and you make no sales. And the reality is, if your website isn't up to standard, even good ads aren't going to save you. So you're wasting every dollar you spend on ads. And to fix this, you have to look at improving all the factors that make your store look credible and trustworthy. So some of these things are professional images, clear descriptions, you want fast loading, product reviews, proof or guarantees, and consistent branding. You want to get feedback from our website users before you launch, and test your store on mobile because most of the traffic these days comes from mobile devices. And I think this goes under the setback tier because a bad website wastes all of your ad spend, but it's easy and fast to fix once you've identified all these factors that are making people not buy. Mistake number 6 is the wrong pricing strategy. You price too low because you want to be competitive, and then you go make no profit. Or you price too high and nobody buys. So one rule I use is what I call the 3x rule. So your selling price should be at least 3 times your total cost. And I mean total cost, like everything. So product cost, shipping, transaction fees, ad spend, everything. So if your total cost is $10, you should be selling for at least $30. But if you're positioning your product as a premium brand, then you can go 4 times. And you might be asking, why is this? It's because we need margin to scale. So you need room to spend on ads, test creatives, and run promotions. And if you're only doing a 2x markup, then you might make sales, but you're gonna have no profit left to reinvest. So here's the fix. Follow the 3x rule, factor in all your costs, test your price point, and make sure you have a margin that's healthy to work with. So I'd say this is an expensive lesson tier because bad pricing means you're potentially working for free or not working at all. Here's mistake number 7, picking saturated products. So you pick a product that's been done to death. Teeth whitening kits, face rollers, posture correctors from 2019, and those massage guns that everyone was talking about in 2020. And you're there thinking, well, if everyone's selling it, then it must work, right? Well, that's wrong. Or well, like kind of wrong, because it's not impossible to make money with saturated products, but you're competing against established brands with huge budgets, massive email lists, and refined systems. So can you win? Well, yeah, maybe, but you're making your life way harder than it needs to be. So the cost is you're going to struggle to stand out, your ads are going to be more expensive, and your margins will be tighter. So the fix is look for products that are fairly new with low competition, ideally ones that have been tested in the last 2 to 3 months on, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. You want to find gaps in the market. So look for products that solve real problems and that don't have 50 competitors yet. To validate a product properly, use the Facebook ad library to check if the competitors are actively running ads. So you want to see at least 5 to 20 active ad copies, which are targeting the best countries for making sales, such as US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. See if they're consistently adding new ads every few days, because that means that they're scaling profitably. No one keeps spending money on ads if they're not making money back. You want to also check the engagement. So go into the comments section and see if people are tagging friends, for example, or if they're asking, where can I buy this? Take note if there's hundreds of shares, because this is a good sign if the market actually wants to buy the product. And this one goes under the rookie tier, because saturation, yes, it makes things harder, but it's not a business killer. You'll just learn this lesson and move to a better product. Mistake number 8, rushing market research and picking products without validation. So you're scrolling AliExpress, you see a cool product and you think, oh, I love this. People are gonna definitely buy this. So you build a store, you run ads, and crickets, no sales. And why? It's because you skipped the part where you figure out if anyone actually wants to buy it. You didn't check if it solves a real problem. You didn't look at reviews to see what the customers care about. You didn't check if it's too saturated. You just thought, you know what? I love it. It looks cool and I'm going to test it. My student Jaden tested about 5 different stores before he figured this out. So he told me straight up, the products he was picking weren't really serving a purpose and weren't solving a real problem. So once he started doing proper research, like looking at reviews, understanding the customer pain points, or making sure there's an actual demand, then everything changed. He hit $70,000 in sales after doing this. And this is a business killer, because if you can't pick good products, you'll never make money in this business. You'll just keep testing losers, burning money, and probably eventually quit. So to fix this, you want to spend a few days on research. Look at Amazon reviews, check if the product actually solves a real problem or fulfills an actual desire. Make sure it's not saturated. Make sure you can't just walk into Target and Kmart to buy it. And this is exactly why we have these product research templates in Ecom Warrior Academy, because we don't just teach you how to find products, we actually review them with you before you spend a single dollar testing them. What we do is we ask you to fill out a product research template, and then we look at all the factors for you. And then we tell you which one to test first. And that way, you're not wasting money on products that were never going to work in the first place. So this process is designed to save you thousands of dollars. So I'm putting this mistake under the broke tier, because picking bad products is the fastest way to stay broke. Let's look at mistake number 9, overthinking before launching, or as we call it, analysis paralysis. So is my logo good enough? Should I change the color of the button? What if my font is wrong? What if people don't like the shade of blue that I've picked? You spend 2 extra weeks perfecting the things that don't even matter. And I've seen this time and time again. When meanwhile, you could be live, you could be testing, you could be getting actual real data from customers instead of guessing what's in your head. And look, I get it. You want everything to be perfect, but perfect doesn't exist until you have data. So here's the fix. Just launch at 80% perfect. Get your store live, run your ads, get feedback from the market, and then improve based on actual results, not your guesses. And this goes under the minor hiccup tier, because overthinking delays you, yes, but it doesn't cost you that much money because you're still gonna eventually launch. Let's look at mistake number 10. No email sequences or leaving money on the table. People visit your store, they browse, then they go and add a product to the cart, and then they leave, and you never hear from them again. So you just lost money because you have no way to bring them back. If you have no cart abandonment emails, no welcome series, no post-purchase follow-ups, then don't be surprised if you don't get many sales. Because email sequences, when done right, you can add 20 to 30% to your revenue. But most beginners skip this completely, and as a result, they're making way less than they could be. So here's the fix. Set up basic email automation, use Klaviyo or a similar tool, capture emails with a pop-up, follow up after purchases. You don't need to be an email marketing genius, you just need to set up the basics. And I'm putting this one under the setback tier because it's not critical to start, but you're losing a ton of potential profit without it. So let's look at mistake number 11. Testing too many products at once. I see this all the time. People think if I test 5 products at the same time, I'll find a winner faster. And it sounds logical, right? But it's wrong. Because what actually happens is you end up spreading yourself way too thin, and you can't give any product proper attention. So your ad creatives aren't good enough because you're rushing, your store's not optimized, and your budgets are actually split for your ads. And then none of them work, and then you think dropshipping doesn't work. But the problem wasn't dropshipping, the problem was you tried to do everything at once, and you could burn through thousands of dollars by testing multiple mediocre setups instead of just one solid setup. And the worst part is, you might have had a winner in there, but because you didn't test it properly and focus, you'll never know. So here's the fix. Do one product at a time, build a proper store, create great ads, and give it a fair test with proper ad spend, and then make a decision based off the data. Once you find a winner, scale it and then test the next product. So I'm putting this one in the expensive lesson tier because multitasking in dropshipping is very expensive. Mistake number 12, copying competitors without understanding why they work. So you find a successful competitor, their store looks great, their ads are running, and they're clearly making money. So what most people do is they copy them. They copy their product, their store layout, their ad angles, everything, and it doesn't work for you. And why is this? It's because you copied the surface without understanding the strategy underneath. Maybe they have a huge email list that they've been building for 2 years. Maybe they've been running that ad for 6 months and have built so much brand awareness. Or maybe their supplier relationship is a bit different and they're getting much better pricing. Or maybe they have a whole back-end funnel that you can't see. The thing is, you don't know. So to fix this, you want to learn from the competitors, but don't copy them blindly. Figure out what problem they're solving, how they're positioning their products, and what makes them different. What angle are they using in their ads? And once we know all this, then we create our own approach based on all of these insights. And I think this deserves to be in the setback tier because it's going to slow you down and waste some money, but you'll still eventually figure it out. Now let's look at the next one, mistake 13, ignoring ad data and not killing bad ad sets. So you're running ads and the numbers are terrible. So your cost per click is way too high, no add to carts, no sales, and your ROAS is basically in the toilet. But you keep the ad running because you think maybe it just needs more time. It doesn't need more time, it needs to be turned off. So if you're making no sales within 48 hours and you've spent your testing budget, then just kill the ad set. You can change the creative or move to a different product. But most beginners, what I see is they let bad ads run for days, sometimes weeks, just bleeding money. So to fix this, you want to learn how to read your data, know when to kill and when to scale. Check your metrics daily, be ruthless with underperformers, and if the numbers are bad, just turn it off and try something else. So I'm placing this one under the expensive lesson tier because ignoring data bleeds your budget dry. Mistake number 14, quitting after your first failed product. So you test your first product, you build the store, you run ads, and no sales. You're frustrated, you're disappointed, and you think, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe dropshipping doesn't work anymore, and maybe I'm not cut out for it. And then you quit. But dropshipping is a numbers game. You're just testing different keys in the lock, and one key will crack that safe. My business partner's first 6 products made 0 sales, and he could have quit at product 3 like most people, but he didn't. And then when he reached product number 7, he made $500,000 in 50 days. And MA, one of my students, so he tested for 6 to 7 months before things clicked. He was working FIFO, 12-hour shifts, losing money, losing hope. He told me he was literally fighting demons at one point. His doubts got that strong. But he refused to quit, and he said that nothing was going to stop him. No matter how many doubts he had, no matter how hard it was going to get, no matter what was going to come in his way, he was going to put the work in until he succeeded. So last time I had a chat with him, he's doing $1,000 now every single day. Another student, Ray Nakuchi, so he tried dropshipping 10 times before joining our program. He tried learning from YouTube, and that really got him nowhere. But eventually he was fed up with seeing no success, and that's when he knew he needed proper guidance from people who knew what they were doing. So after Ray joined us, he's now generated over $500,000 in sales on his 10th product, and then he quit his job after 3 months of hard work. Another student, Craig, so his first product didn't work at all, and his second product showed initial success. So his second product reached $2,000 in sales, but then he got limited by less effective video ads. So he didn't get to the product that completely changed the game for him until his third one. But once he did, that third product made $7,700 in sales in less than 2 weeks. So this is the difference between people who make it and people who don't. It's not about being special, it's not about being smarter, and it's not about having some secret advantage. It's about being stubborn enough to just keep testing until you find what works. And this fix is simple, but not necessarily easy. So expect your first product to fail, expect your second product to fail, and maybe even your third. And just for reference, our students test around 5 to 8 products before finding their first winner. Commit to testing at least that many products, or just be stubborn as hell and commit to testing until you find your winner. Because there are winning products out there, they exist, you just have to find them. So this belongs under the broke tier because quitting is the only guaranteed way to fail. So I want you to remember that you're not trying to avoid every mistake. That's impossible. You're trying to avoid the ones that kill your business. So what I want you to do is focus on not doing the broke tier stuff. Be smart about the expensive lesson tier stuff, and don't worry about everything else because you'll figure it out as you go. And what I've realized is the students who make money aren't the ones who never mess up. They're the ones that just keep testing, keep learning, and refuse to quit. And look, my business partner Stallone tested 7 products before he found his first winner. And it cost time and a lot of money, but those failures taught him something that helped him get to $500,000 in 50 days. So if you want the exact framework that we use to validate products, build stores, and scale ads without making all these expensive mistakes, then check out Ecom Warrior Academy. The link's in the description, and I'll see you there.